Football. Something that means so much to all of us in many, many different ways. But what does Google actually say football is? Football. Any various forms of a team game involving kicking and in some cases handling a ball. But it's just more than that, isn't it? Football is more than 22 players on the pitch kicking a ball about. It's about love, commitment, fight, passion, and togetherness. And when a goal goes in, it's more than just, it's a goal. It's grabbing the person next to you and celebrating like you've never celebrated before. And football brings you moments, and this is one thing we want to highlight on this channel. It brings you intense highs and the lowest of lows, from scoring in the first 10 minutes to heartbreak in the last 10. It can swing, it's a pendulum. It goes left to right, emotions spring up out of nowhere, anger, love. And yet, sometimes it is some of the worst thing you ever watch, but we still stick by. We still have the family and community feel. We commit to going every weekend, and that is what football is about. Now on this channel, we wanted to give people a chance to express themselves. We wanted to delve into the history behind football, the stories behind football, and also what it feels to fans. Giving you guys a chance to express yourselves on this channel, whether it be hot takes, emotion, or genuine analysis. This is the platform to express yourselves. And now in today's video, we're going to be looking into my personal journey of football and the love of the game and what it means to people. Where did my passion and my love for football come from, and why did I set up this YouTube channel? That's what we're going to be delving into today. And there's going to be a lot more content where this came from. This is probably where I fell in love with football. The Zaha moment of OES is one of the best commentary moments in Championship history, the same season as the Troy Deeney commentary as well. And Selhurst Park is where not only dreams were made for Crystal Palace fans, but for fans all over the country. These were all my dreams were born. We've spoke about the Zaha moment in the 2-0 win against Brighton. But these turnstiles is where it all began. SE25 is the postcode where I spend a lot of my time and where it brought me moments and memories. And we talk about this in football a lot, is moments are the most important thing in football. And the Homestell Road in SE25 is my second home. We even call it the church because we're here every week watching the Palace. And this is where I used to get my tickets. Used to line up on a match day in the Championship season just after the administration, and these were the little turnstiles, and look how tiny the little gap is, and the colours are unique as well. And that's one thing that's good about Crystal Palace, is we've kept the culture in the club the whole time, that old 80s and 90s feel to a football ground, and having the fans really close to the pitch is what makes Crystal Palace so unique. And going back to the whole point of the video of this is why we love the game, and how it just has our own unique feel to the things that we love. And the shitty little ticket office is one of those things, and just it being a bit run down, and it is a bit of a shitter of a stadium, but it's what we love and what we go to every single week. Now these are just a few of the legends that have played for the club over the time, and some of my heroes. You've got Jason Puncheon, who probably gave me one of the best moments that I've ever experienced as a Palace fan in 2016. We then have Mile Jedinak, the godfather, I like to call him, never missed a penalty in his career. Julian Speroni, who played for the administration times and didn't even play for a wage, alongside Darren Ambrose, who scored the pivotal goal to keep us up against Sheffield Wednesday in the 10-11 season. Clinton Morrison, who was a bit before my time, but you hear loads of stories about him. And then just recently, the England manager, Gareth Southgate, and Ian Wright, who both played in the 1990 Manchester United FA Cup final, and they played twice and unfortunately lost due to Steve Bruce and some of the legends. I mean, that squad to get to that final was incredible anyways, but it just shows the talent that this club has had and the history behind it as well. And it's not all about trophies, it's about how you feel for your football club. Now we talk about legends on that wall over there, but these are equally some legends as well. We've got Chris Coleman there, who used to be the Wales manager in 2016. We've also seen a lot of heat around Jim Cannon in recent times, with Ian Wright talking about how he was a bully on the overlap. Nigel Martyn, who played for Leeds when they were in their pomp, and also played for England as well, and the legend Andrew Johnson, who scored 20 Premier League goals and got the most goals in a Premier League season in 2003. And we still went down, which I think is a first in history. Ian Wright, Dougie Freedman, the legendary Dougie Freedman, who is not only a cult hero, but is now our sporting director as well, just to name a few. And also John Solarco, who played for England at one point with Nigel Martyn and also Ian Wright as well. Now, these are just a few of the players that built the club and are an important fabric of the club as well. And with Crystal Palace, it's not just been an easy journey throughout. In 2010, the club was under administration, and these very walls didn't even belong to the club. The owner was Simon Jordan, and this was owned by Barclays Bank. And it was due to the fans going outside and rioting and the new consortium that Crystal Palace therefore got their stadium back. So we were in the Clifton Arms, which is where I've spent many a pound and drunk many a beer. And it just holds so many good memories for me. You're drinking in air after wins and even after losses to drown your sorrows. And this is where the Palace fans come to meet up and have a chat, really. So we mentioned already the administration in 2010, and that was such a big turning point for Crystal Palace in their history. We went from administration in 2010 to Premier League football in 2013 within a 3-year stint. We came from probably never having a Crystal Palace Football Club ever again to having a 4-person consortium, and Steve Parish is still part of that picture and is still part of the process to where we want to be. At the end of the day, us as Palace fans, we're here for the badge and we're here to support our local team. And to be fair, we've got fans all across the world, such as Anderson, who's brought over more Danish fans, which do come to the games as well, and you do see them in the pub. They've got their own Fanatics group as well. And this is what football does. It reunites communities. And Crystal Palace is a community football club, and this is what football is about. We've gone through how it feels so much to us, and even being here when the football's not on, it feels oddly weird because it's so quiet. And going from administration in 2010 to Premier League football, it just shows how things can turn around. And Wilfried Zaha was at the pinnacle of that, and those players that you saw over there. And on this channel, we just want to give people a platform. We want to give people a platform to express how they feel. And I've got all the time for the Gary Nevilles and the Ian Wrights who used to play the game, but I wanted this space to be somewhere where we don't just talk about analysis, we talk about how we feel. We have the hot takes. We say that Eden Hazard's rubbish because he didn't score in one game, and Wilfried Zaha's the next Messiah and should be playing for Real Madrid. This is how I want it to feel, and I want to give fans more of a voice to express themselves. So on this channel, we're going to be doing kind of this documentary form kind of vibe. We're also going to do some analysis videos and also just getting kind of a gauge of the local fans as well through Twitter and also interviews as well. And almost like some stories along the way. I'd like to try and do some foreign trips as well, just to go and see what the football culture is like abroad, to just show you guys that football is more than a game. It's love, it's community, and it brings us together, and it brings division together. It's a beautiful thing. And for those who don't understand, hopefully this gives you a good insight into what football means, from, you know, us never maybe having a club and we rioted outside Barclays Bank to get our stadium back, to where we are now in maybe finishing in Europe this season and bringing in some of the best prospects we've ever had. So what is next for Crystal Palace? That is the question. You know, we all love to drink our beers and go watch amazing football, but I've sat through Hodgson Ball, Allardyce Ball and Pulis Ball, and I can tell you for a fact, it's not the best football you've ever seen. But with Glasgow, we've got a different vibe, and that winning mentality is in all of those players, you know, smacking up teams like Villa 5-0. You don't do that every week. So what is next for Crystal Palace? I'm not sure. You know, we talk about where it was, you know, playing in the Championship and watching Blackpool at home, to selling our best players to Bayern Munich. It's gone on a trajectory rise that I don't think any of the fans really saw. So I think within the next kind of 5 years, we could be at a European position, but it's very hard for football clubs to get there. And you've got to have that discussion of, do you want to push for Europe and potentially go down and, you know, you sell your best assets to make money? Because let's be honest, clubs like Crystal Palace will never make the most money. Or do you just stick where you are? And I'm in the camp of sticking where we are, because I enjoy watching Premier League football, and it's brought me, again, amazing moments. We'll beat one of the top 6 every season. We always have a say in the title race, for all you fans that say that we are boring, because we're fucking not. And we always kind of have a slip up at some point, but we always, you know, we get through it. And I think competing at the best level is what you want to see as football fans. But even going from my own personal journey with Crystal Palace, you know, when I first started watching Palace, I had no interest, and my hero was Kevin Phillips. I went to Wembley to watch us in the playoff final, didn't really want to go, kind of got dragged there. I remember watching Blackpool at home in the season just before we got promoted, going, it's only football, why do you care so much? And now, kind of 10 years later, I'm making football videos about how much I love football and kind of what football means to us. And it just shows how things can change. So when I link that back to Crystal Palace, things can change so very quickly. When Kevin Phillips scored that penalty, I remember asking my aunt, who is that? And I asked her about 50 times. She must have thought I was really annoying, because she said that day I didn't know whether to feel like I was going to vomit or cry, because it was Kevin Phillips in extra time, we were under the cosh, and somehow we dragged our way to promotion. And we had misfits and people with personality rather than skill and talent. That's what's got us there. And we weren't expected to go up that season, because the season before we nearly got relegated. And it just shows like my footballing journey and that Kevin Phillips moment. And I think just seeing what that meant to people is what made me fall in love with Crystal Palace. And now I go to all the games possible, home and away. And it just shows the power of football. So where Crystal Palace will be, I don't know. But it just shows how things can change very, very quickly. I mentioned earlier on in the video about how I've seen some really dire football over the time. Long ball, 10 man behind the ball, hoof it up to the big guy, which is normally Glenn Murray or Benteke at the time. But how does tactics actually affect the way that we think about football? And I think it's a conversation we should have, because I think this season is going to be such a special season for us now. I know we've lost Elise, and we may lose a couple key players as well before the end of the window. But there's so much belief and a winning mentality behind the fans and also the players and managers. And that stems from above. It stems from Glasner and his team. And I just wanted to delve into some of the tactics and how his style of football has made us believe that we can win and actually achieve something really, really special. Not only this season, but hopefully for seasons to come. Now with Glasner, we know the importance of wing-backs. And when we look at the formation just shown above, we can see that he almost has a 4-2-5 formation in a slow build-up. He wants to really stretch the pitch. And you could also compare it to Antonio Conte at Chelsea. Now, we all know that the stigma of Antonio Conte is that he played a very defensive football, blah, blah, blah. But in that Chelsea season, they were very, very prolific. Yes, they were very solid at the back, but they played some decent football at times, and it all came from those wing-backs, Alonso and Moses. And Mitchell Munoz is very important and pivotal in Crystal Palace's success for next season. And when looking at his tactics, it doesn't cover the whole pitch, but that's why also having someone like Adam Wharton who can cover a lot of ground, and also having two players next to Mateta that can come and drop in, means that you basically surround the whole pitch. If you therefore have those two wing-backs coming back to make it a back five, and then in transition bombing on forward, you then have your two centre forwards or cams coming back to support your Wharton or Check the Courier that's in the holding midfield. So in transition, when a team does grab the ball off you in the attacking half, there are players back to stop that happening and to stop that midfield two being overrun in transition. But it also means that in a Glasner system, you have to be very fit to play in it. And that kind of gung-ho, 5 players in the other half of the pitch approach is what gave us a lot of success. And watching really fluid football brings fans a togetherness and belief. And tactics and the way that you play has a big part in the way you feel about your football club as well. Now, I've just pulled up 2 graphics, one against Wolves and one against Fulham, and I call it the strangle effect. Now, what I mean by that is just giving the opposition no space and no time, going gung-ho for it at every single second. And this is why Dean Henderson, I think, has become quite a pivotal part in the team as well, because having someone that's comfortable on the ball almost gives you an extra man on the pitch. We've seen it with Ederson. I think Pep was kind of the start of that. Alisson's a prime example of that as well. Onana, Manchester United are trying to move in that direction. Emi Martinez at Aston Villa. Having someone that can play out from the back gives you an advantage, because that gives you an extra man that therefore the opposition have to press. And that's why Adam Wharton is so important, because when you have that 2 in midfield and you want to start playing out from the back, having someone who's that one touch, two touch, who's very confident on the ball, and you see it with Rodri. And I'm not saying the same kind of player, but I'm saying someone in that defensive midfield role, and again a little bit the same with Jorginho at Arsenal, that can just do those 1-2 passes, those easy passes. So when it goes to Walton and someone's pressing, bang, you're through, because then he needs to pass back, and then whoever's pressing Walton comes towards him. And then when he's created that space just through those little nice 1-2s, you're gone. And then you've got 5 in the attacking half, and everyone's running down the pitch. You've got Munoz and Mitchell running down the pitch, and then for next season, hopefully, Eze and Kamada being quite close to Mateta as well. So there's a lot of that 1-2 quick passing, which is why Glasner is so effective in the system that he plays. But I'll do another video on this at a separate point, so I don't want to go too deep into it. So that is what football means to us. Now, if you did enjoy it, please leave a like and subscribe as well. I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and there's going to be more content where this came from, and I'll see you in the next one.